Mr. Hussain is the Regional Sales Engineer of Hager Group, and I welcome him to the panel.
Thank you, Abbas. Good afternoon, everyone. At the beginning, to introduce myself, my name is Hussain. I'm the Regional Sales Engineer in Hager Middle East. I will be speaking today on the smart light applications and how it's improving the energy efficiency and the occupant experience. Starting with the definition or what smart lighting is. Smart lighting is in the residential field is part of the smart home concept. And the main goal of this concept is to give the user or give the tenant of the house the comfort, the convenience, the security, and of course, satisfying his needs. In addition to that, it was used or it was designed to reduce the energy consumption and thus have a higher energy efficiency in the building. To give an overview on the smart lighting, or when we go on an overview on the smart lighting, it will directly reveal for us two types. The first type is a system. It's called the Smart Lighting System or SLS. And the second one is the smart light bulb, which is usually known in the market as a gadget. So the first one will be using an energy efficient lights, which is the LEDs. We'll speak about them later in the second slides. It will be working on wired or wireless communication protocols, so it will be based on these two kinds of installation. It can have an optionally sensors that sense or controls. It will be integrated with control system, of course, in our houses. And the most important aspect, it will have a long-term usability. The second part, which is the smart light bulbs, it is widespread in our houses as a gadget. We go to any place, we buy it online, we buy it sometimes from the supermarket. So it's a housing configured item working on a wireless communication protocol. Usually it's connected to the Wi-Fi, so it's Wi-Fi connected devices, and it have a related application. We install it in our cell phones and we control it. We can control the color of the light, we can control the intensity, and we can switch it on and off. This type of bulbs are designed or were designed initially just to replace the conventional or the traditional lights. So we can just remove the bulb, the old bulb from our home or in our lighting fixture, and we install the smart lighting one. Our first application is the energy efficiency. So the first foundation of smart lighting application was to save energy. So when all this idea came, it was to save energy. And this came initially from the commercial and industrial buildings, where it started before the residential. Energy efficiency includes different parameters, and we will talk about them here. The first one, which is the most important one, is the light source or the light itself. As we know, in the past decade, we noticed, and it was obvious, a market shift from traditional lighting. We are speaking here about the type of the lighting, if it is incandescent or it is halogen, and it shifted toward energy saving lights, which includes, it started first with the CFL, compact fluorescent lighting, and then it moved to the LED and now going to the smart LEDs. So the marketing term at the beginning until now was an energy saving light, where we will have a less power consumption. Going now to the controls or the how the energy efficiency is done inside the homes, it done with different kinds of controls. The first one is the manual and automatic control. This will cover or includes the smart switch in our home, the motion sensor, the timer, and other control devices installed in a smart home. The second one is scheduled controls, which of course covers the timer. The third one is occupancy dependent controls. The fourth one is daylight harvesting or what's called with constant light regulation. And of course, action recognition is a part of these controls. But before going to the control types also, we shall clarify here first that how it's done or what's the implementation process of this. The smart lighting is always associated with smart homes, and thus what we call it the home automation system. So in a simple way, the home automation system includes two types or two categories. The back-end devices, which includes our relays, our dimmers, and all the devices and actuators installed in the panel board in the house, and the front-end devices, which includes the smart switches, the touch screens, and the remote control devices, which can be our mobile phones, or our iPads, or our PCs, and even outside the home. So here in this situation, we will be controlling the light by different kind of controls. The first one is on-off. So it's a switching element, simple switching element. We control our lights based on our needs. The second one is dimmer, and the dimmer goes into several types, which is, it can be either phase dimming or DALI or 1 to 10 or the MX. So these are some technical terms or type of dimming elements. And of course, not to forget here, we start seeing, or we start in the past 2 years and a couple of years, we start seeing the IoT coming into all of these applications. The second one is the wireless communication protocols. It can control it can include, the Wi-Fi connected devices, as we mentioned in the smart light bulbs. These smart light bulbs are Wi-Fi connected, so we just bring the bulb, we install it. Okay, we put our application and we do the configuration, and it's done. This is it, and of course it will include also the other type of communication protocols, which is the Zigbee. It's also very known in the wireless communication protocols inside the houses and in small application. There is a few back points in this type of installation, which is the limitation of the number of connected devices and the communication distance between all these devices. So usually this is used or installed in a small area or a selected zone in our homes. Now, starting with the first application of the energy efficiency, we are speaking here about the constant light regulation, or in other words, it's the daylight harvesting. This is done to save energy, basically. And the formal definition, if we want to give a definition in a bold words, it's the system that uses the daylight to offset the amount of electrical lighting needed to properly light a space. In other words, to reduce the energy consumption. So it depends on the light level or the lux level in our area, or the zone we are living in, the room we are living in. Depends on the light level, the lighting fitting will give us the needed lighting. So in case we have the lighting is, for example, in a specific living room, 200 lux or 300 lux, which is more than enough, then the lights will go to 10%, 20%, and can be also go off. This is done with two type of installations or devices, sorry. The first one is a light sensitive switch. This light sensitive switch can be an independent device, or it can be integrated in a motion sensor or a presence detector, as we have it in our Hager range product portfolio. And on the other side, we will have a dimmer that is connected to the lighting load. This type of installations is widely spread in the projects here, and especially in the Middle East. We can start seeing it in the airports, in the big projects, governmental projects, and of course the high-end residential projects, where the architect or the lighting designer, along with the system integrator, who is the home automation, they give this functionality and technology to the user. The second application of energy efficiency, which is the traditional one, which is found everywhere and everyone knows about it, which is the automatic and scheduled controls. We can start with the occupancy. Occupancy is controlled by the motion sensors. Everywhere we see the motion sensors, in the lobbies, in the rooms, in the libraries, hospitals. Everywhere we will find a motion sensor. This motion sensor can come with different technologies. Of course, it can be passive infrared, PIR, it's known as PIR. It can be work on hyper frequency or ultrasonic technologies, or it can be a combination of both. So this is found, this can be installed on a ceiling, in a wall, and it can be, of course, installed indoor and outdoor, any project. The second one is the time-based activation or the scheduled controls. This is widespread in our region, and many countries imply it as a mandatory installation. I will give an example. For example, in Qatar, the Kahrama or the utility provider, they make it mandatory for every home to switch off the lights of the garden and of the facade after the sunrise. So in this way, they can cut at least 50% of the lighting energy consumption inside these homes, where they usually, or the trend was to keep it on all the time. Before moving to the second part of application, it's very important to mention here that the best way to have a higher energy efficiency in a home or any residential projects or any kind of projects is to monitor our consumption, or to monitor what we are using in this. For example, I will give for lighting, for smart lighting, for example, we need to know when it is used, when we are wasting this energy. So using energy meters, using servers, using visualization softwares, we can do this integration, and we can install a complete home automation or a complete smart system along with of course, which makes the lighting smart. And then we can monitor our consumption, and accordingly we can manage it. We can turn it on and off, or we can put some offsets. The second application of smart lighting, which is now changing the concept of lighting control, is the occupant experience. Before, the lighting control was just to control the lighting and to save energy, as we mentioned earlier. But now we are moving to, in the past years, as we see, we are moving towards user experience, what the user will feel and what the user needs. Not everybody as an end user knows about energy saving or have an interest in energy saving, but mostly in the homes they need a comfortable ambience or a specific light intensity in a restaurant, for example. So I shall take into consideration what best enhance the experience of the customer. As a lighting designer, we are speaking here. As a lighting designer or as a home automation smart home designer, I shall take into consideration what best enhance the experience of my customer and the resident of this home. This, of course, will cover the level of illumination, okay, and the color and the temperature of the lighting fitting inside a designated area. Let's mention here quickly one technicality, how it's done, which is the dimming technology. So the dimming technology that we mentioned it earlier, when we have a dimmable lighting load, and we have a dimmer, which is the control device, okay? And then we can have a control on the intensity of this light. So what's the importance? Mainly, it will increase the visual task performance. So in any working environment or let's say in kitchens, we need some light. We need to increase it. We need to decrease it. So this is done by the dimming technology. And of course, in some areas, we enhance the space ambience and the flexibility. Wherever we need less lighting, wherever we need to change the light, we can do this here. And of course, as a normal case, it will save energy. Another example of our application is the RGB lighting, where the tenant or the resident of the smart home can choose the color of the light. This will match his mood and his planned ambience. This is widespread. We can see it on the facade lighting. We can see it in homes. We can see it everywhere in all the applications. Now, coming for one of the new technologies and most interesting application, I think Sergio has mentioned a part of this, or the part of this, the Humancentric Lighting and Tunable White. So Tunable White, we are speaking here about Tunable White. Tunable White is the technology that enables the user to adjust the color temperature of the light source or the light fitting. This is also known as the correlated color temperature. This technology, the main concept of this technology is to make the light feels natural. And inside our homes, we always go inside a room where we find it very yellow or very bright or anything else. So the main concept here is to make it natural, how we want the light in our space. This will create, of course, the atmosphere and improve drastically the comfort. The positive contribution to this is the so-called human-centric lighting. The human-centric lighting. What is human-centric lighting? To give a small glimpse here, I will maybe repeat what was presented by Sergio in other words. So to give a small glimpse, it is intended to promote and provide the person's well-being, mood, and health. This includes two parts, actually. It can work on two parts for the human being. It can work on the biological effect and the emotional effect. This is called also biological effective lighting and emotional effective lighting. The first one will improve the performance of the human being. So it depends on the light. All the studies mention that the type of the light or the color temperature of the light in a specific time, reflecting the nature outside. Like at the daylight, at the noon, we will have a very bright light, like 6,000 Kelvin or more. So this will improve the cognitive performance. And of course, the second one, which is the emotional effective lighting, it will create emotional stimulating environment where we can choose whatever we need in our area. We need it to be amber color, or we need it to be towards noon time. So this is again will have a big stimulating effect on us as a human being. I know these phrases can be new for the part of the audience. This is a new technology where this makes the smart lighting or the lighting itself. When we say smart lighting and we say tunable white and we say human-centric lighting, we know here that this is an interesting topic to explore and interesting technology to be installed in our homes. Yeah. The key takeaway, so I came here at the end of my session. So the takeaways is we have a smart lighting. It is part of our smart homes. This smart lighting applications can enhance our energy efficiency in our home. It will increase the energy efficiency. And of course, it will have a positive effect on us as a user experience. Thank you, Mr. Abbas.